Jane is a 30-year-old single mother of two living in Monroe County. She works full-time in the service industry, earning the federal minimum wage of $7.25 an hour. Her schedule changes from week to week, and she struggles to find childcare during the evenings when most facilities are closed. Jane does her best to provide for her children, whom she rarely gets to see, but she's barely hanging on. Regardless of working as much overtime as she can, she lives paycheck to paycheck. If she misses even one day of work due to illness or a family emergency, the financial repercussions are detrimental. Jane's children are getting older, and she's afraid that she's missing out on their lives at a job that's getting her nowhere. This woman is just one of thousands of Hoosiers struggling to survive on the current minimum wage in Indiana. I work at Mother Hubbard's Cupboard, a local food pantry in Bloomington, Indiana, where I meet people like Jane every day. I listen to their stories, and I see firsthand the impact that such low wages can have on a family. The current minimum wage only serves to reinforce the cycle of poverty in Indiana. In order to combat this issue, we must consider increasing the minimum wage to a living wage. If the story of Jane and other Hoosiers like her is not compelling enough, let's look at some statistics. According to research done by the Indiana Institute for Working Families, Jane falls into the highest bracket of individuals affected by minimum wage legislation. In fact, while everyone would like to believe that minimum wage jobs are mostly held by teenagers, the reality is that fewer than 10% of the people working these jobs are under the age of 20, and 58% are women. The average yearly salary of an individual working full-time hours at the current minimum wage is $15,312. The federal poverty level for a family of three is $20,090. As you can see, the numbers just don't add up. To meet the ever-increasing costs of housing, childcare, healthcare, and other basic essentials, Jane would need to work a minimum of 130 hours a week. This leaves her with very little left over and virtually no time to spend with her children. This issue is not isolated to Monroe County. In fact, according to the 2016 Indiana Self-Sufficiency Report, authored by the Indiana Community Action Association, there is not a single county in the state of Indiana where $7.25 constitutes a living wage. It is obvious that something needs to be done. I propose that the minimum wage in Indiana be increased to $10 immediately. After this initial increase, wages should be incrementally increased to $15 over the next 3 years. After arriving at 15, wages should be adjusted yearly to match inflation of the Consumer Price Index. This may sound familiar to some of you, as it mimics the proposal authored by your own Senator Mervin, Senate Bill 176, that was carelessly dismissed in the most recent Indiana General Assembly session. It was sent to the Committee on Pension and Labor, chaired by you, Senator Boots, where it was seemingly undeserving of your agenda. The statistics are clear, and the benefits are overwhelming. By enacting this proposal, Hoosier families will be able to meet their basic needs. They can afford to get sick. They can spend more time with their families. They will finally have the time and disposable income to help boost our state's economy. The minimum wage in Indiana has sat stagnant and unchanged since 2008. As more and more Hoosiers fall into poverty and live paycheck to paycheck, I ask, what exactly are you waiting for? Because we can no longer afford to wait. Now is the time to forget about ties with big business and wealthy interests. Now is the time to consider the plight of the people that you represent. Now is the time to give low-income Hoosiers a fighting chance. In conclusion, I just want to say thank you to those of you who continuously fight to pass minimum wage legislation. I hope that you continue to author and support these bills that have such a huge impact on Hoosier families across the state. To those of you who oppose, I implore you to reconsider your position. I ask you to remember the story of Jane and consider, what if she was your daughter, or your sister, or your mother? Look at the research and then tell me that these struggling families do not deserve a living wage. Thank you.